Talking about Sthana Bala, the first part of Shad Bala today. It includes exaltation degrees, it includes the health in the different harmonic charts, and several other things that I'm going to talk about in this video. Okay, so I'm talking today about Sthana Bala, which is one of the facets of Shad Bala. I have an overview on Shad Bala that you can download below this video. It's a nice outline of the Shad Bala components. You see I have a link here. It's from a website called dira.org, which is run by an astrologer named Roland Delouf, who is an excellent astrologer. And I have a link to his website as well that has the overview. But I'm going to be doing an upcoming course on Shad Bala, an advanced course on Shad Bala. I've never taught Shad Bala before. And if you don't know what it is, it's the sixfold strength in Vedic astrology that we use to identify the strength of planets. And it's quite systematic and scientific. And, I've been using many Shad Bala components for years, especially, Drik Bala, which is directional strength. Chesta Bala is motional strength, which we use when we talk about retrograde and whatnot. Bala is part of Sthana Bala, which I'm going to talk about today. Then there's Bala, which is part of Kala Bala. So I'm going to be making some videos to talk about what Shad Bala is. And one of the things to understand, like many things in Vedic astrology, it's quite systematic, formulaic. Vedic astrology is still practiced like a science. It's considered a science. It's not just something that we kind of fool around with. In the West, Western astrology is also very scientific, and many Western astrologers approach it as as a science. But there's still many Western astrologers who say astrology is not a science and it'll never be proven as a science and it'll never measure up to scientific standards and all this, which I completely take issue with. I think that's totally wrong. It is a science. It is practiced scientifically, and it's considered a science, and it does measure up to scientific standard. And so, again, in Vedic astrology, we apply that standard for sure. It's not just, well, I feel my way around it. Now, there are a lot of Vedic astrologers who do that too, but in West, you see a lot more of it. By the way, and it's not to disparage Western astrologers in general, because I know a lot of great Western astrologers. They're just as good as Vedic astrologers. It's not that. But what I'm saying, though, is that there's a different standard for the most part, that Western astrology is much looser. It's much more open. My friend David Palmer, the Leo King, even talked about that quite a bit last year in an interview that we did, where he said, he's like, man, Vedic astrology is really, you guys really learn like scientific stuff, and a lot of Western astrologers, rely more on intuition and signs and stuff, and then all of it works. All of it's good, especially if you're doing readings and helping people. It's all good. But there is that difference, and Shad Bala is one of those very scientific parts of Vedic astrology that's formulaic, and but like many things that are complicated, it's also been sort of codified and oversimplified into some very, again, oversimplistic what you would call reductions, where you reduce something. Good example is like the Vedic compatibility analysis and what's called the Kuta system, which reduces everything to a point score. So again, you can learn, what the point score is, what's a good point score, but the least important or valuable way to do the Vedic Kuta analysis is to just read the point score. That's the least, impactful way to do it. The most impactful way to do it is to actually learn what each of those qualities of the Ashtakuta system or the Dashakuta system mean? Then you interpret each one of those things, then you get a lot of power in the Ashtakuta system, not just a score. Shad Bala is very much the same sort of thing. You often see computer programs, they reduce the Shad Bala to the score, and like, oh, this planet's strong in Shad Bala, quote, strong, and you don't even know why. You don't know why it's strong, you don't know why it's weak, and then at that point, you're just kind of playing with the sort of good-bad paradigm, which is pretty useless. So in the Shadbala course that I'm going to do, I'm going to teach all of this. I'm going to teach what each one of these things are. As you see, even with Sthana Bala, there's 5 different components. Then there's Drik Bala, then there's Kala Bala, which has 9 different facets. Then there's Chesta Bala, NAISARGIKA Bala, Drik Bala, and then the total Shad Bala. So again, today I'm going to talk about Shad Bala, about Sthana Bala, which Sthana is literally, it shows the positional strength, and it kind of means how it's standing. Sthana means sort of like standing, like how it stands up, sort of. And you see it's a composite of several different calculations. One is called Ucha Bala, which Ucha is the exaltation degree. Opposite Ucha is Nicha. Ucha just means high, and Nicha means low, but it's actually the closer that the planet is to its exaltation degree. That's one facet of Sthana Bala. Second one is called Saptavarga Bala. Saptavarga means 7 Vargas, strength. So you calculate the dignities and the strengths of the planets through 7 harmonic charts. And that would be the Rashi, Hora, Directional, Saptamsha, Navamsha, Dwadasamsha, and Trimsamsha. So this is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 7, the 9, the 12, and the 30 harmonic charts. So again, you analyze that. Then you have Ojayugma Bala, which is even or uneven signs in the Navamsha. So certain planets do well in the even and some in the uneven signs in Navamsha. Of course, masculine will tend to do well in the masculine signs, feminine in the feminine signs in the Navamshas. And then the neutral signs, I believe, are both. I don't have every single one of these memorized yet, but that's why I'm teaching it, because then I got to really learn it as well. Little inside baseball. One of the reasons often why I want to teach something is because I want to go back and relearn it. And I know that if I teach it, I'm going to really learn it again. Relearn it, reteach it. So Shad Bala has always been something that I've kind of flirted around with. And so I'm like, now I'm going to teach it, because now I'm going to really dig in there and learn it. Okay? So Kendra Bala is the planets in the Kendra houses 1, 4, 7, and 10 have strength, and then planets in 2, 5, 8, or 11 get 30. 1, 4, 7, 10 get 60 points. 2, 5, 8, or 11 get 30. 3, 6, 9, 12 get 15. So this shows the relative strength of angles, angular houses, 2, 5, 8, or 11, which are called the Anafra houses, I believe, and then the 3, 6, 9, or 12 are called Apoklima houses, which are the houses that are related to the dual signs. So again, this is a sort of comparison between houses and sign structures, right? 2, 5, 8, or 11 are similar to fixed signs, right? Like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. 3, 6, 9, or 12 houses, but again, it's not the signs, it's the houses, are related to the dual signs. So, one of the things about learning these systems in depth is not just that you learn the gross calculation and how many numbers it is, but you learn principles. And you learn to see which principles are grouped together. You start to learn to understand certain approaches that have a spin-off kind of ancillary benefit beyond the literal thing that you're studying, right? Like for example, I talked about the Kuta system. Certain things in the Kuta system you want to have different. Like, for example, you want to make sure that the nakshatras are of different elements. You don't want two nakshatras to be windy. If one is windy, you want the other to be watery or fiery. So it shows that as far as a sort of temperament is concerned, you want things to be different. You want a different temperament, right? Doesn't even matter which ones, just you want them to be different. So it means that an excess of element in that temperament is not beneficial. So you can take that principle, besides just that literal expression, the principle is universal. Same here. By examining these specific things, you also unlock principles which are universal, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind, and this is why you don't only want to learn it and try to memorize it or something, but you want to learn the principles. So anytime you dig down deep into something to discover it on a in a very focused way like this, you also unlock the secrets to many other things. This is why this intense research is so important, because you learn so many other things that take it to a newer, that take it to a level that you didn't really expect. Okay? And then finally there's a Directional Bala, which is to calculate masculine, feminine, and neuter planets based on which Directional they fall in. And the Directionals are 0 to 10 degrees, 10 to 20 degrees, and 20 to 30 degrees. Certain ones do better in the first part of the sign, which are the masculine signs. Saturn and Mercury are the neutral planets, which wind up what is it? How is it? Saturn or female planet? Yeah, if male planet in the first 10, whatever. Yeah, if it's a neutral planet in the middle, it gets between 10 or 20, and then 15 Shastianshas. Yeah, so it breaks down the exact calculations, which we'll wind up doing in the course. So again, I recommend you go to Roland's website, dira.org Shad Bala, which has the whole thing really laid out. He really did a great job with that, of breaking all of that out. So Sthana Bala, the first of the 6 parts of Shad Bala, shows how the planet is standing. If it's standing in exaltation, that means it's standing up strong. If it's powerful in the 7 important harmonic charts, it supports its standing as well. Then the even or uneven Navamsha supports the standing. Whether it's in the Kendra, Anafra, or Apoklima houses, also supports its standing, and which Drekana it's in also supports its standing, and how much it can withstand different things. And again, also the different balas are different. Sthana Bala, which is how the planet is standing, is different than Drik Bala, which is the direction, the directional strength, right? And that's different than the Kala Bala, which Kala means time. So when we look at Kala Bala, we're looking at all the different increments of time. Divaratri Bala, we have Ayana Bala, whether it's closer to one Ayanamsha or another. Yuddha Bala, which is how close it is to other planets. Hora Bala, which Hora it's in. Vara, which day. Masa, which month. Right? Abda, which is the Lord of the Year. All about time. Kala Bala. So again, in studying this, we also study something like time, and how Parashara, this is right from Parashara Horasastra, how he analyzed the planet and how time impacts the planet, right? So I'll be talking about these over the next few days. Chesta Bala is emotional strength. How fast it's moving and slow it's moving has to do with its strength, right? NAISARGIKA Bala means its brightness. Drik Bala is its aspectual strength, which means the influence by other things. And then the total Shad Bala, the points are added up, which is similar to that Kuta point score. So for all my students, I really recommend you get this course. Shad Bala is a great way for you to just get a powerful snapshot of all the all the things that impact the planet in these categories, of how it's standing, of how it's moving, of its impact through time, or how time is impacting it, how it's how fast it's moving, where it's taking us, its relative brightness, etc., its aspectual influence. And then within that, you have all of these other different sub-influences, right? And for my certification course students, past or present, you also get a great discount. So look in your email for that invitation. And again, if you're seeing this on YouTube or on Facebook, you can also get the course at the regular price. It's still a great deal. It'll be over 2 weekends. 2 weekends. It'll be about 20 hours worth of class material. So it's going to be great. These are Zoom calls, which means they're live, and then they're also archived forever. Even if you can't make the class in real time, you can always go back. You get the recording, so it's much better even than going to a conference or something where you just would sort of hear me teach it and then that's it. You got to make notes and then hope you remember. No, these are archived forever. You can go back and watch it 200 times if you want. So this is what all of these classes are. I have a whole library of these courses at my website for you to study and learn and really understand Vedic astrology, and this Shad Bala course is going to be great. So check it out, and I look forward to seeing you in the course.